the human highlight reel, Andonian Air, lightning in a bottle. These are all nicknames given to Bryce Andonian by his fans and teammates, and if you've had the good fortune to see Andonian in action, you'll quickly understand why. To watch Bryce Andonian wrestle is to see the sport in its most entertaining and exhilarating form. Explosive and devastating upper body throws, lots of pins, wild and acrobatic rolls and flips, and other counters. Andonian wrestles with a certain reckless abandon, where going for broke and taking risks is the norm, and rules like never reach back from bottom position or avoid going to your back are broken with impunity. There's a phrase in wrestling called letting it fly, and it means to aggressively open up your offense in the hope of scoring big. To let it fly is to leave caution to the wind and make something happen, risks be damned. This is, of course, the Andonian way, and from what I've seen, the only way he is capable of wrestling. This let-it-fly gunslinger archetype is characterized by a few things. One is a general lack of fear or caution, bordering on recklessness. This means a willingness to take risks and go for big moves, no matter the skill of the opponent or how big the moment is. Another, and related to the prior, is a complete and total trust in your instincts or intuition. To be a gunslinger, you need to operate in a flow state where you allow your trained intuition to take over. This mindset of trusting your intuition is critical because any doubt, hesitation, or even conscious thought can derail the execution of a big move in those brief windows where the opportunities present themselves. Think Darian Caldwell hitting a headlock in the finals of the 2009 NCAA championships, or Bo Nickel getting the pin in the finals of the 2018 NCAA championships. Let's kick this off by taking a look at Andonian's favorite techniques. One thing Andonian does exceptionally well is transition from lower body attacks to the upper body clinch. This lower body to upper body transition is how he facilitates many of his throws. To do this, he first initiates a lower body attack, oftentimes a double leg. And as the opponent defends, Andonian slides his arms up into a clinch position, typically an over-under body lock with a left underhook and a right overhook, where he can then finish with some form of off-balancing attack. Let's check out a few examples of this. Andonian initiates the attack and uses the opponent's defensive left underhook as an invitation to enter into the over-under position. From here, Andonian cinches the over-under body lock, moves forward to generate some momentum, and pivots right to off-balance the opponent and rotate him to his back. Head post, elbow post, initiate double, ladder up to over-under body lock, step through and rotate the opponent towards the overhook side to his back. Double, ladder up to over-under body lock, step through and rotate the opponent towards the overhook side to his back. Seatbelt single, transitions to over-under body lock, blocks the far leg to off balance, pivots right and rotates him toward the overhook side to his back. Single, over-under body lock, caves the lower back and takes him to his back. By the way, this is classic Andonian, where in one moment he's getting turned with a hammerlock half Nelson, and the next he has the opponent on his own back, racking up near fall points. In this one, the opponent shoots, Andonian grabs the over-under body lock, runs the corner, swings his right leg wide, and hangs his weight to hit a beautiful Tani Atoshi variation. A few other examples of throws from the over-under for your viewing pleasure. The next throwing technique to look at is this overhook twisting throw, which I've called the overhook kickout throw in prior videos. Andonian looks for this move when an opponent has a right underhook. To do it, he gets a left overhook, right side tricep control, gets his left hip inside, usually by stepping deep with his left leg while pivoting hard to his right and maintaining the upper body controls. These mechanics have the effect of kicking out the opponent's inside leg, pulling him into a downward facing posture, and rotating him over his far hip. Here's the same move again from the same match, this time stepping his left foot a little shallower while getting his left hip further across. Left overhook, right side tricep control, steps deep and pivots right. Andonian was also effective from the double overhook position, including this high octane one from the 2023 ACC Championships. Feels the double unders, locks up double overs, marches forward with zero fear, allows himself to get picked up, then plants and drives off his right foot to take the opponent to his back, and does a masterful job stabilizing the top position to get his near fall points. On that last point, I think one of Andonian's best and maybe overlooked talents is his ability to keep opponents on their backs and stabilize top position following a throw. Double overhooks, drive forward, step out of inside trip attempt, fall to hip, block the leg, force a double headstand position, then switch to head and arm control to get on top and secure the pin. The sentiment here, like in many Andonian clips, is I'm going to force a chaotic situation and I'm confident that I will come out on top. The last throw we'll discuss is the headlock. Andonian didn't use this one often, but he did pull it off 2 times in the NCAA Championships. Once in the opening 10 seconds of his first career NCAA Championship match, and the other came in the second round of the 2022 NCAA Championships, which he uses to counter, no, obliterate the opponent's high body lock as he drives forward. Beyond his throwing ability, Andonian is also skilled at attacking the legs. We saw earlier how Andonian uses the double leg to help transition to the clinch, but depending on the situation, he also uses the double leg itself as a means to get the takedown. Andonian would also occasionally attack single legs. Moving into defense, Andonian made good use of the chest wrap to counter his opponent's leg attacks. He was skilled at sitting the corner in the crackdown position when opponents attacked high crotches. It can be difficult to neatly categorize a lot of Andonian's defensive moves because they tend to be situational dependent and pulled off as if he just came up with them on the fly. This again speaks to the gunslinger ethos of trusting your intuition and finding a way to win in a given position. Take this one against Levi Haynes, where Andonian uses a reinforced underhook to force Haynes to his back and nearly get the fall. For more on this sequence, check out the full breakdown I did on it, linked below. Other examples are these body lock counters where he picked the far ankle. How about this duck under counter where he instinctively hips in and gets on top just before the opponent spins around to his back. In this one, he cartwheels off his head to prevent the opponent from ducking out to his back. Here he defends a takedown attempt by maintaining an overhook while broken down to his hip, rolls to his back, elevates the opponent's hips overhead, hip heists, and performs a headlock from bottom. Pure insanity. Another Andonian specialty is rolling escapes. These rolling escapes took different forms depending on the situation. Sometimes they were cartwheel style rolls, like this lat whip variation that he pulled off against Sammy Sasso in the closing seconds of the period. Here's a similar one. Other times he would do a front roll and hook or catch one of the opponent's legs mid-roll. This one resembles more of a Granby-style lateral roll, but the effect is similar to the prior two, where he catches a leg mid-roll and uses it to get a reversal. One thing I want to mention, because I find this very cool, is that in the middle of his college career, Andonian started using Jason Nolf's Winn Dixie technique. I've covered this move in prior videos, but in short, Nolf would jump overhead and hook the opponent's armpit with his leg from this waterfall position. This type of unconventional, high-risk, high-reward move slotted nicely into Andonian's arsenal, and he had good success with it. It's worth mentioning that Andonian's high-flying gunslinger style did carry risks. While certain upside moves, like this one, could work in spectacular fashion, they could also fall flat in other situations. Nobody got away with reaching back from bottom or rolling over their back more than Andonian, but even he was not always immune to the downsides. Here's an eerily similar sequence with Peyton Keller played out in back-to-back years. In 2023, Andonian reached for the head, rolled over his back, and got a reversal. In 2024, he again reached for the head, rolled over his back, and ended up getting pinned. In terms of performance at the NCAA Championships, the pinnacle of college wrestling, Andonian's breakthrough campaign came in 2022 when he finished in 3rd place, going 5-1 and averaged just under 10 points scored per match. That 2022 NCAA Championship campaign was highlighted by his 2 wins against fellow gunslinger Austin Gomez, in which both wrestlers traded big move after big move. Their first match in particular will go down as one of the most exciting NCAA matches in recent memory. Here's a quick highlight of that match. Other notable moments from that year's event include a big lateral drop and this headlock we saw earlier. In the 2023 NCAA Championships, Andonian won his first 2 matches, then fell to Levi Haines in the quarters in a hard-fought, high-scoring affair. Andonian would again earn All-American status, meaning a top 8 finish in his weight class, with this spectacular throw from the over-under position, and finished in 7th place. In his final NCAA championship in 2024, Andonian would win his first 3 matches, including a fun back-and-forth quarterfinals match against conference rival Ed Scott, where Andonian came roaring out of the gates in typical fashion. In the semis, Andonian would again face Levi Haines, who came into the match as the undefeated #1 seed in the weight. Tied 1-1 in the 3rd, Andonian hit this beautiful double to take the lead 4-1. This was the first takedown Haines had given up the entire tournament. With less than a minute left, Andonian took a shot and Haines, known for his counter offense, quickly countered with a leg grab of his own. Andonian jumped on the back. Haines continued to control Andonian's right leg, created space, and punched his right arm inside just before Andonian attempted to step over. From here, Haines shelves Andonian's right leg and gets the takedown, now up 5-4 with 30 seconds left in the match. In classic Andonian fashion, he rolls over his back, which is precisely what opponents least expect in these situations, and ties it up with an escape to force overtime. In OT, Andonian nearly catches Haines with another double. If you freeze frame it here, it looks like this might be it. But Haines, having been hit with the same move earlier in the match, is too savvy to give it up again, and times an impressive sprawl to shut it down. Haynes then counters with a single. Andonian attempts to roll under for a leg pass, but Haynes anticipates it, drops weight to the leg, and gets the fall. Andonian would go 0-2 in the backside for a 6th place finish and would end his college career as a 3-time All-American. What are we to make of Bryce Andonian's college career? His 3 top 8 finishes at NCAAs speak for themselves in terms of accolades. From a stylistic perspective, athletes with Andonian's level and combination of dynamic, funky, and creative talent are rare. And when you add to that the freewheeling gunslinger mindset, you get something exceptional. On a personal level, I review a lot of film and try to stay relatively detached from the athletes and instead focus more on the technique. I watch a fair bit of college wrestling, but don't have a favorite team and try not to play favorites when analyzing the technique and making breakdowns. All that being said, over the course of his college career, I have to admit that I became a pretty big Bryce Andonian fan. I made sure to watch most Virginia Tech dual meets and would keep close tabs on Andonian's matches at NCAAs each year. When he lost to Levi Haynes in the NCAA semis this past March in his final season, I felt a sense of sadness and loss that took me by surprise. Afterwards, when I studied the match, my mind went to the what ifs. What if Haynes' reaction to the double attempt in overtime was just a fraction of a second delayed? What if Andonian decided not to shoot in the final minute of the match when he was up by 2, and instead played it safe and stalled? Would he have gone on to win the match and then become an NCAA champion? Reflecting on this further, it occurred to me that in terms of career legacy, while the accolades matter, they aren't everything. Andonian was a fan favorite not because he won every match, but instead for how he wrestled every match. There's a great scene in the movie Vision Quest where the main character, Loudon Swain, questions why his friend would give up a night's pay to watch him wrestle 3-time state champ Brian Shute. The friend then relays a story about how he once watched the legendary soccer player Pele score a goal with a bicycle kick, which had the effect of making his friend break down into tears in his room.
There's another human being, a species which I happen to belong to. Kick a ball. Lift himself. The rest of us sat as human beings up to a better place to be, if only for a minute. Let me tell you, kid, it was pretty goddamn glorious.
The message here is that witnessing a moment of greatness, in this case in the form of athletic achievement, can be a beautiful and uplifting experience to all those who have the privilege of witnessing it. To watch Bryce Andonian wrestle over the course of his college career was to witness something special. The incredible feats he regularly pulled off electrified crowds and solidified his status as one of the most exciting college wrestlers of the modern era. All in all, it was pretty goddamn glorious.
Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!